Nigeria widely praised for a successful election which saw the opposition candidate emerge as winner of the polls. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Details of those stories and plenty others over the next hour. Don't go away. Now imagine this, you work for decades and upon retirement you get a pension package which is far less than the average monthly salary of a member of parliament. That's the issue back in the mind of a retired nursing officer, Mrs. Martha Bachman, who worked for 41 years. Who has worked for 41 years and is getting only 4,700 cedis in her pension package. To add insult to injury, she says no one is explaining the meager payment to her.
I've worked for 41 years. 41 years in the Ghana Health Services. Contributed 475 months for SNIT. I retired this January 2015. So on March last week, I had a text that money has been deposited in my account. So I went to my bank and asked. The money was from SNIT, my SNIT benefit, 4,742 cedis.
Okay.
I said, only. So I went to the Senate committee too. Then they gave me a
letter?
A letter. So after going to the letter, I asked the lady, please explain to me. And the lady said, you know, Madam, PNDC law 247 Act 766. It doesn't benefit you old, but it benefits the young ones. I say, what are you telling me? How old are you? I've worked for 41 years. So I didn't mind the girl. I came to Accra SNIT. So when I came to the Accra SNIT, the lady said I should go to the 6th floor and see the manager. I said, hey, 6th floor. So I went to the 6th floor. So when I went, a gentleman met me and then took the form. Then he said, Madam, please mind your heart. Then I asked him, you know I have a heart. I don't have a heart. Bury me now. Explain this to me. He said, you see, Madam, please, exercise patient. All your money is there, but only the government hasn't signed.
So what is this 4,700?
He said lump sum. Let me read. He said last name of last employment Ghana service. Best 3 years salaries 20,568, then 20,568, then 18,697. Okay, average of best salary. Then he said 19,944. Number of contributed 475 months to SNIT.
Yeah.
475 months. Then pension rights 59%, 59.63%. So my benefit details: monthly pension 991 cedis, then 25% lump sum. I said, please explain the lump sum to me. I don't understand the lump sum. They say, oh, I'm an exercise patient. I said, hey, exercise patient. Then he says, the lump sum is 3,751. I said, is it a mistake? Were you going to write 37,000? You wrote 3,000. No, it's not a mistake. You know, tier 2 pension. Didn't you hear about tier 2 pension? Hey, tier 2 pension. Please, bury me alive here.
So this information, how have they explained it to you for you to understand? Because obviously there are things to be explained here.
And you told me that I should exercise patient and that they are waiting for the government to sign. Our case is at the parliament. So,
which aspect of it is in parliament now? It's your entitlement.
Entitlement. Even my junior had 20,000 cedis last February.
So do you think yours is a mistake?
Yes, it's a mistake. I can't take this salary. I can't take this as my pension benefit.
Have you gone back to the Ghana Health Service?
No, I haven't gone there back.
For now, you've gone to SNET. And they are trying to resolve it, or they've told you this is it. There's nothing wrong with it. What are they saying to you?
They are saying that I should assess patient and that our case is at the parliament. They are waiting for the government to sign the go ahead. Go ahead. I say, hey, don't let me die before you give me my benefit. I want my benefit. My rank, my mates had 30,000 Ghana cedis. Only
getting 3,000.
December 2014. Then she said, maybe that person is older than me. I said, yes, it's older than me. It's my mate.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Madame Perpetual Foriampofo, says the association is not surprised by the news, adding authorities fail to take into account concerns of labor unions.
These are the sort of things we've been talking about for the past couple of months, that there is the possibility that people will go on retirement and be underpaid. And this is a clear issue of that. And we believe this is not an isolated case. There may be a number of them out there who have been underpaid, but unfortunately have not had the opportunity to come directly and report some of these things to the union.
Obviously, what I get is that this is really prevalent, widespread amongst nursing officers who retire. But why do you think that, for instance, with the case of Mrs. Bachman, she deserves more than the 5,000 cedis lump sum she's been given?
I cannot say for sure what the reason is, but I think Senate should be in a better position to explain this.
But do you think she deserves more? Do you think she earns more?
She deserves more. She deserves more because per the Act 766, it says that if as of 2010 you were above 50 years, then you were exempted from this 3-tier pension scheme. And if she's retiring this January 2015, then it means as at 2010 she was already 55 years, meaning she's exempted from this pension reform, and therefore her split should be calculated per the PNDC law 247, and under that she is entitled to pension rights of between 50 to 80% for the minimum pension payments that she's supposed to receive. So the minimum is 50 and the maximum is 80%.
Right.
Yes, that is per the number of months that you've worked. And she's worked for 41 years. For 41 years. According to her, she's worked everywhere in Ghana except for the Volta region. And if she has to go through all this and then retire, and she has to be paid just 3,751.20 as a lump sum, then something is definitely not right. Something is definitely not right. She should be paid more than what she's been given.
Old girl drowned in a storm drain after a downpour in Accra. Residents in the Santa Maria suburb of Accra, where the tragedy occurred, are blaming the death on the failure to fix the damaged storm drain. Joy News' Latif Idris was there and filed the following report.
Okay, exactly 2 weeks ago, we were here and sounded the alarm bell that danger was looming here at Jalav, Santa Maria. But it's like the alarm bell that we sounded fell on deaf ears. Authorities took no steps at all to fix the situation here, and now the rains have set in, and last night's rain has carried away an 8-year-old girl around this vicinity. Now residents here are fed up with the situation. They've complained severally and they've had no results whatsoever. They don't even want to talk on the issue again. The big question they're asking is, are politicians going to come here in 2016 to campaign for votes? Now, finally, I managed to get one resident who is going to tell us exactly how the situation is affecting lives here.
No, the MPP color or the album in a year, Joe appeal. No, we not nine on Baha on Baha and Joe appear. Catchan said, so that punching Baha ma, you book one and a punching. In the point to the MPP color or the Badada. Now, you're quaning yet on my.
So you heard from Ato Abontua, who is very much frustrated about the situation. They've complained on several occasions, but they are not getting results.
Oh, baby, a school one.
School anymore. When you say, huh? To my bomb say, you don't see me shabba already.
The potable water, which is already inadequate for distribution in the national capital, is already going waste here as a result of yesterday's rain. And as you can see in the picture there, yesterday's rain actually has resulted in the bursting of this tap here, which is making potable water go waste. Now, some residents here are expressing worry about the situation that they don't have water in their homes, yet we have water going wastage as a result of yesterday's rain. How has the situation affected you in person?
Yeah, it has affected me in so many ways. For example, I live in a community, but in the first place, we don't have potable drinking water, and we can see the water being wasted all over the place. This is not the only place where you can find the water being wasted. Across the place, other pipes have been burst. The water is just spilling all over the place. And at the end of the day, the cost will still come to we, the citizens. And then I've been living here since 2000. I've been staying here. This is why I went to school. From class 6 up to this place, I've completed my diploma. And then we are still facing the same problem. It has gone from bad to worse.
Anytime it rains, the other time it rains, we have to jump the wall to go to the other end so we can have shelter. Anytime it rains, it comes into the house. So yesterday when we were in the house, the water reached my thighs. We couldn't sleep. Just look at how I'm looking now. We've been working this morning throughout yesterday night till now. We've not been able to sleep. So how are you expecting us to cope?
So why is your mom not allowing us in there?
She's not allowing you people in there because you've been coming here several times. They said there's a company that looks after her. Is it NADMO or whatever they call themselves? Yeah. Anytime they come here, it's bedsheets. If my whole house is full and you give me bedsheets, what am I going to do with bedsheets? Or a cup of rice, what am I going to do with it?
I'll follow this issue closely in subsequent broadcasts. But the Ghana Bar Association has condemned the practice whereby the executive arm of government picks judges it wants to sit on some cases. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony for new High Court and Circuit Court judges, the president of the GBA, Nana Megache, said the Chief Justice is the only one mandated to make these selections. Join users said Kwame Boateng is attending the ceremony and joins us now on the telephone. Good afternoon, sirs.
Good afternoon, Kemini.
Why was Nene Amegache peculiar about this particular phenomenon where the executive arm chose judges for certain cases?
So he was addressing the judges and he was speaking about the independence of the judiciary. And he made the case that if the executive arm of government continues appointing judges to sit on cases, it means the judges have to do the bidding of the person who appointed them. When you do that, you get elevated, or you fail to do that and you remain where you are. He says that is totally wrong and that must end. He says instead, if the executive needs judges to sit on cases, the executive must inform the Chief Justice, who will then appoint competent people to sit on these cases. So that was why he made this statement. And the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has also been speaking. He has been addressing them on the need for them to exercise their duties without fear or favor, and that they should not commercialize justice. He was emphatic on that. The Chief Justice has also been talking to them about integrity. He says they should do everything possible to ensure that their integrity is enhanced, that nothing affects their integrity, and that they should also be concerned about the vulnerable, especially infants and those who have mental issues. They should also be concerned about them. And she's about to swear in the 22 circuit court judges and magistrates. Kemini.
Well, thank you very much. We'll leave it here for now. As Joy News' Kwame Boateng joined us from a ceremony where some 22 judges are to be sworn in into the judicial service. Well, now, the publicity secretary of the Ghana chapter of the All Progressive Congress says President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari will lead the fight against corrupt practices that are prevalent in Nigeria. Apostle Samson Chuk says respect for the law will be the order of the day under the APC government. He spoke with me earlier on Joy News Desk. What are those issues that the APC looks forward to changing as General Buhari takes the mantle as president?
The economic bleeding of Nigeria, the corruption that is so high, that is not being managed, that is not being brought low. You see, even as a person, if you have millions of money and you are reckless, you go poverty. You go poor. There's a lot of recklessness in governance. Oh, that's one of the things you got to stop. Indiscipline. People move anywhere. General Buhari in 20 months at Law Pit toilet. Now we have WC today.
But people should be able to move anywhere. That's not indiscipline.
But not you urinating every corner of the street. Not you defecating every corner of the street.
Has the APC a strategy to deal with that?
Yes, provision will be made. When you provide the platform, people can now behave. Food bridges will be built. When you see a food bridge, you have to cross from the food bridge.
Are those the major issues facing Nigeria now? You know, these things you have mentioned.
Yes.
Are those the major issues Nigeria is looking into changing? Are those the major issues?
When you block the leakages, if I'm employed by this Joy FM, they will pay me at the end of the month. But when they don't make profit, they will not pay me. If there's lose, they will not pay me. It is what I work, I will be paid for. Now, when you close the leakages and you are making income, you will pay your workers. You will create more work. You create more employment. These are major issue. Getting poverty out of the system, corruption out of the system. When you do that, everybody will now work and merit their payment.
Meanwhile, Secretary of the Ghana chapter of the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria says Nigerians' choice of president shows how eager the country is in her attempt to stop over dependence on expatriates for development. Franklin Seidu says it is time Nigerians took responsibility for their development.
Nigerians have done what they want to do. They have elected the APC as a government. We may have our issues with the election, but we believe that since over 25 million or 15 million Nigerians have spoken and they have given you that vote, you should go ahead. Africa has come of age. The interference of the international community, the so-called the Western world and all that, are getting too much on the African continent. And it's about time that we Africans will be able to put an end to that. The tensions that were generated by countries from the West and all that were part of the reasons why people felt that there were tensions in the country. But naturally, those things should not have happened. Our expectations are for Nigeria to be a better place, for Africa to take her role in the Committee of Nations in the world, and for the black man to be more respected, to see as being able to take care of his own problems.
Now, there's still uncertainty over whether elements in President Jonathan's People's Democratic Party would relinquish power after 16 years or resist in the courts or on the streets. One former state minister, Mr. Rubebe, briefly disrupted the results on Tuesday, seized the microphone and shouted angry claims of bias against INEC chairman Professor Atahiru Jega. Let's get on the line now for some analysis on this. Professor Jibril Ibrahim is Executive Director for CDD Nigeria. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
Are these concerns justified, or perhaps Nigeria is indeed out of the woods?
Yes, we had the best possible outcome of the presidential election. Everybody is relieved that we had a good outcome. The results came out. The president accepted he had been defeated, and the response of the winner is magnanimous. You can't have a better outcome than what we have now.
Indeed. Now, the concerns over whether or not elements of the PDP will accept and relinquish power May 29. And again, I'm going to ask the same question. Are those concerns justified, or Nigeria is indeed out of the woods?
I think they were very justified up to the moment the president accepted defeat. As soon as he accepted he had been defeated, the concerns are no longer valid, because there is no way the party can now say they're contesting the outcome in any other way except through the judicial process. And if they want to do that, that's perfectly fine. Every presidential election we have had has been contested in the courts. So that's a normal procedure to follow, but we do not have any major concerns about violence, which is what we were afraid of.
Now, the APC, including its leader, General Retired Muhammadu Buhari, may be excited, but the fact remains that ahead of them is an arduous task. What are those elements of the Nigerian society, those problems within the Nigerian society you expect the APC to be focused on?
I think there are many issues. First of all, this campaign has been very fractious. It has been very bitter, and there's a lot of anger over things said during the campaign that should not have been said. So there's first the issue of calming down the political atmosphere. Of course, Nigeria faces two huge challenges. On the one hand is the security challenge, which at one level, with the Boko Haram insurgency, is threatening the sovereignty of the country. But there are other security challenges in other parts of the country as well, such as cattle rustling, rural banditry, kidnapping, and all that. So that's one issue that has to be addressed immediately. The second issue, of course, is the extremely high level of corruption in Nigeria's public service. I think it is clear that the level of corruption has reached the stage where it is threatening the governance of the country itself, and that's therefore an emergency that must be addressed immediately. These, for me, are the three key issues that need to be addressed immediately.
Now, consistently, President Goodluck Jonathan and the PDP had made mention of the fact that they were dealing with these issues, security, corruption, the economy. But at the end of the day, President Goodluck Jonathan lost the elections. Why do you think he'd lost it?
Well, because he was not dealing with these issues. The insurgency in the northeast has been festering for 6 years. When it started, it was just a couple of hundred ragtag groups of untrained people, and the Nigerian armed forces simply refused to quell the insurgency. They encouraged it, allowed it to get out of hand, and people hold President Jonathan responsible for allowing the Boko Haram insurgency to fester, to grow. And the second issue, the president always says, is fighting corruption. But everybody living in this country knows we've never had as high a level of corruption in our history as we do today. Therefore, nobody was believing his words because his words were in total contradiction with the facts on the ground.
What are those tools that Buhari possesses to be able to deal with the problems, the two major problems of Nigeria that you have mentioned?
You see, the fact of the matter is that the incoming president will have a very difficult time. We know that the crash of the price of petroleum has adversely affected Nigeria's revenues. Is therefore coming in at a time in which there is very high hope that he has a magic wand to solve all our problems, but that the reality on the ground is that there are less resources. The corruption issue is important because if he blocks some of the corruption avenues, there will be more money available for public good. But the situation generally is that it's a very difficult time for governance, but with determination and a clear policy focus, I think substantial progress can be made.
Well, now, let's look at the man, General Retired Muhammadu Buhari. Is he capable of tackling the numerous challenges plaguing Nigeria? What has he got? Who is he?
I think he's somebody who has two virtues. The first virtue is that he's a person with a lot of determination. Even for the presidential election, this is the first time he has contested for that position. He's somebody who doesn't give up, who is dogged, and who is really determined. So that's his character. The second issue about him is that he delegates authority. We are hopeful he will be able to choose a very competent team to work with him on governance issues, and we do know that he is going to be able to delegate powers to them so that they can each focus and achieve targets that he sets for them. I think his character is such that he is the man for the moment.
Finally, let's look at the handing over date, which is May 29. Elections ended yesterday and would have to wait till May 29 for the inauguration of General Muhammad. Is that not too long a time?
No, the elections have not ended. We are having the state governorship and the state assembly elections on the 11th. So the elections have not ended. After that, I think it will be normal to have a month for the government to tie up what it's doing currently and prepare for the transition, which will occur on 29th May.
Very well, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much, Professor Ibrahim. Professor Jibril Ibrahim is Executive Director for CDD Nigeria. Our top stories here on Joy News today. National Council of the New Patriotic Party holds emergency meeting to take a look at the proposals put forward by the National Executive Committee for the conduct of the party's parliamentary primaries. Ghana Registered Nurses Association raises concerns over low pensions after the coming into force of the amended Pensions Act. And the Ghana Bar Association condemns the selection of judges by the executive arm to hear certain cases. And all up, Nigeria widely praised for a successful election which saw the opposition candidate emerge as winner. Well, there's more to come. Just stay. Well, I'm glad you could stay on the program. Now, as the New Patriotic Party decides on whether to rescind an earlier decision to allow their women, members of parliament, to stand unopposed or to allow their women MPs, rather, beg your pardon, to be opposed only by women, the International Federation of Women Lawyers says it will support the women to maintain their seats in the 2016 general elections. Executive Director of FIDA, Jane Quay, says the organization will provide the female MPs with all the skills they need to stay in office. She was speaking on the AM show.
I believe strongly that if we put in these affirmative action measures, and mind you, it's not after forwarding the women. You need other measures. It comes with training, you know, it comes with education, it comes with capacity building, it comes with empowerment. You are doing everything you can. That's the idea of affirmative action. You are doing everything you can so that the women will be enabled. They'll be enabled to stand in the place where they can now also contribute meaningfully and well. That is the whole idea.
So what if you don't get women in some of these constituencies who are interested in standing? It makes those who are already there go unopposed.
And why not? People are mobilized. And I believe also that once these women even are confident that this is what we have, they will even do better. They will try and put in more strategies. All of us in the women's human rights organizations are prepared to back them, you know, with in whatever way we can.
So you would campaign for these women?
Not campaign, but what we do from our end, we don't campaign, as in the word campaign, for a political party, but we get support from donors to bring more education, more training, things that will sharpen them up. You understand what I'm saying?
If the NPP, for instance, upheld this decision, you would back their women MPs?
Why not? And any other woman in any other political party.
Okay.
Any other woman in any other political party.
And you're saying you give them exactly what?
We can't offer money. We don't have.
Okay. But you know, money plays a really, really important role, whether we like it.
Yes, yeah.
That's a reality.
But you give them skills so that they know how to fundraise. You know, you give them, you empower them. That's the way.
What if they are not performing? Because that's one of the other things that has come out.
So what are they using to measure their non-performance? Until we have done.
There are people in the constituency who feel that the MPs are not active enough.
Until we have done enough, maybe research to prove non-performance. I think it's just hearsay.
The National Council of the New Patriotic Party, meanwhile, is holding an emergency meeting to consider proposals put forward by the National Executive Committee for the conduct of the party's parliamentary primaries. Concerns have been raised by some party members over the proposal by the National Executive Committee to prohibit males from contesting certain female members of parliament. Our reporter, Kwache Afre Nyama, is following up on this. He's joined me over the telephone. Good afternoon, Kwache.
Good afternoon, Kamini.
What information have you gathered so far?
The meeting is yet to end, though, but a highly placed source of this crucial deliberation tells me that already there have been some heated discussions over this controversial affirmative action matter. Although many members of the National Council agree that this particular directive should be reviewed, additionally, I've gathered from this meeting, information on that call that I cannot independently verify, though, that the National Council, some members of the National Council are proposing that the party should review just the regulation on affirmative action and maintain the directive restricting non-indigens from contesting in some areas along the coast in the Greater Accra region. I'm talking about Ga indigens. And I understand that this has been met with some safe opposition as well. Last week, if you recall, Mr. Paul Afoko, chairman of the MPP, told Joy News that the directive on Ga indigens only contesting in certain areas in Accra was an agenda really pushed by the Ga caucus of the MPP, but it's not so clear now who is pushing this agenda now at the National Council meeting. But the deliberations continue already. A number of groups within the party, the polling station executives who have already presented a petition to the party, the regional constituency executives and supporters from across the country, some have gathered here saying that they will reject any decision that the party's National Council takes that contradicts the concerns raised in the opposition or that fails to address those concerns. But just before the deliberations, once again, I spoke to first to chairman of the MPP, Paul Afoko, Dominic Nitiwo, deputy minority leader, and Greater Accra regional chairman, Ishmael Ashite. And the question I asked them, among other things, major one, is what will guide the National Council of the party at arriving at the final decision. And they all said two things. Number one, looking at the protests that this controversy sparked across the country, going the National Executive Commission, and number two, they will consider how this decision, whether reversed or otherwise, will impact on the MPP's chances going into the 2016 general election coming in.
Now, this is supposed to be a National Council meeting without all the supporters who have gathered at the African Regent Hotel. Now, tell us, what is the reaction of the elders who've met there to this?
Well, this is largely to be expected following political events of this nature, especially when meetings of this nature have been triggered by actions of supporters. It is to be expected that when a meeting is being held following their protest, they will certainly be here. So I must say that it doesn't surprise the executives here. Nana Akufo-Addo, when he arrived here, there were some of the party supporters here. He waved at them. Other party executives, they waved at them. And the point they're making is that clearly you cannot win an election without these people, because these are the people who will be working for you on the ground. So their presence here, from all indications, is no bother at all to the National Council members.
Well, thank you very much, Kwache, for the updates. Kwache Fred Nyama joined us from a National Council meeting of the NPP. There's business ahead here on Joy News today. Don't go away.
Good afternoon, I am Baba Tanda. Let's talk sports on news today. And Black Starlight head coach Silas Tete, he has submitted a 35-man provisional squad to FIFA ahead of the Under-20 FIFA World Cup in New Zealand. Now, the head coach will have to select his final 21-man squad from the provisional list for the tournament, which will be starting on May 30 and ending on June 20. Ghana is paired in Group B alongside Argentina, Panama, and Austria. And of course, the Satellites were bronze medalists at the 2015 African Youth Championship in Senegal. The Black Satellites will start their campaign against Austria on Saturday, May 30, 2015 at the Wellington Regional Stadium in New Zealand. This is the 25-man provisional squad. Goalkeepers, we have Kwame Ba of Hearts of Lions actually, Mutawakilu Sedo of Hearts of Folk, Michael Sai of Brecum Chelsea, Lawrence Ahi, he is from Red Bull Salzburg. Defenders are made up of Kingsley Fobi from Right to Dream Academy, also Bempa from Hearts of Folk, Joseph Adu of Inter Allies, Joseph Ajay from Wa All Stars, Nicholas Opoku from Brecum Chelsea, Emmanuel Intim from Valenciennes, Latif Abubakar plays in Egypt, Yakubu Mohammed, he plays at Tema Youth, and Patrick Asman from BA United. We also have Patrick Prozo from Inter Allies. Midfielders are made up of Thomas Ejapon from Man City, Asiedo Atobra of New Dubiasi, Emmanuel Oti from Sporting Braga, Kennedy Boateng plays at Wafa, Godfred Donsa plays in Cagliari in Italy, Kofi Abwa plays at Boa All Stars, Michael Otu from Unistar, Prosper Kasim, Inter Allies, Emmanuel Enchi from Liberty Professionals, David Atinga from Red Bull Salzburg, Agbenyu Lumo from FC Porto. Strikers are made up of Abbas plays in Deportivo. We have Benjamin Tete from Dreams FC, Samuela Fo from Hazakes, Yao Yeboah from Manchester City, Ebenezer Ofori from AIK Stockholm, Clifford Abaji plays in Granada, Osabuti Jonah plays in Temi Youth, Emmanuel Boateng plays for Rio Ave, Samuel Tete plays for Wafa, and Osei Barnes, he plays for Pios Ferreira. I've been joined in the studio by my colleague Benedict Owusu Dankwa. Remember, Benedict was in Senegal when the Black Satellites were playing in the African Youth Championship 2015. Benedict, good afternoon to you. You've seen the list. First of all, what's your view?
Well, I think it's not misplaced for the coach to call up 35 players. It's always necessary and important to have a pool of players to select from, especially when you're going for a tournament of this nature. He has already seen 21 players at the African Nations tournament, and now there's a bigger platform. There's a tournament he won in 2009 and placed third, and this time he would want to do something better. So obviously he wants to, get the best players to go into the tournament. But my worry is that if you called up 13 foreign-based players, that's fair enough. 21, the players you took to the African Nations Championship, that's the Youth Championship, you took 21 players. Why do you drop one player from that squad and take 20 at the 16?
You're talking about
I'm talking about
Anochi Bedu from BA United. Do you think there's a particular reason why Selastete dropped him?
Well, we are here to find out, because for me, Anochi Bedu was the main man. He really helped the team in the qualifiers and also at the tournament. At the tournament, because of the pair of Joseph Edu and Joseph Mensah, which was working perfectly, he didn't get the opportunity to play. But Joseph Edu in our second game got a second yellow card, so he couldn't play in the Mali game, which he came in. He did well. So if you drop in a player, I think that Selastete should have maintained the 21. Then obviously you add 15 foreign-based players. You get to know the strength of these players. Then you take some out. Then you finalize your squad for the tournament.
I see. What have you also been picking as in terms of reactions from other people after Selastete named this provisional 35-man squad?
Certainly, people are not happy. Football administrators.
Particularly for what reason?
They are not happy because of the exclusion of Anochi Bedu. The same point I'm making here, that you presented 21 players at the African Youth Championship. So if you're picking up 35 players provisional squad for the World Cup, then you maintain that 21, then you bring in new players, you try them, then obviously, because he has already noted that there will be changes, obviously, and it is expected everywhere, even in Nigeria, Mali, Senegal, they all do the same. At this point, you need to get the best players. I'm not saying those that went to the African Youth Championship were not good, they were equally good. But this is a tournament that he's won in 2009 and also did so well at the last edition and wouldn't want to compromise, rather would want to do something better. So I believe, and also you're talking about the reactions, people are certainly not happy with the exclusion of Anochi Bedu, but for them, they think the foreign-based players and the local
but wouldn't he be able to add Anochi Bedu if indeed he decides to change his mind?
Now, what will happen is, because it's a FIFA tournament and already he has submitted that list.
He has 2 weeks before the tournament if he does want to make any change.
No, the change can only come in when there is an injury.
And even with that, a doctor's report.
Absolutely. So that's the only way. Probably, maybe if it's an oversight on the part of Bobo, I don't want to believe it was an oversight.
Obviously, I see the unhappiness. You're expressing so much unhappiness. But I know you spoke to one player, Yao Yeboah, who actually plays for Manchester City, and he also was there for the Black Satellites at the African Youth Championship. And apparently, he told you that playing at Man City is a dream come true.
Yes, of course. He also won the Man of the Tournament, and he's been with Manchester City for 3 years now. He's been doing so well. So obviously, you will be a happy man.
Definitely. And let's listen to what Yao Yeboah told Benedict.
I'm really happy to join them because it's not easy for African player to go straight to Europe and join a big club like Man City. So I really appreciate the fact that they've given me the opportunity, and then it makes me happy. And then anytime I walk around, even though I'm not arrogant or anything, I don't feel big. But I mean, it's a platform, it's a good platform for me to join Manchester City. It's everyone's dream to play in the Premier League because it's good quality football, and then everyone enjoy it. And then that's what everyone is hoping for. So I'm really looking forward to it. If I get the opportunity, I will take it.
It's a wrap on sports today. My name is Baba Tando. Have a good afternoon.
You're watching Joy News. Today, our top stories here. National Council of the New Patriotic Party holds emergency meeting to consider proposals put forward by the National Executive Committee for the conduct of the party's parliamentary primaries. Ghana Registered Nurses Association raises concerns over low pensions after the coming into force of the amended Pensions Act. Ghana Bar Association condemns the selection of judges by the executive arm to hear some cases. Nigeria widely praised for a successful election which saw the opposition candidate emerge as winner. Well, I'm grateful for your company. Visit myjoyonline.com for more news. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.